Your ego is the reason why you're broke. Your overinflated sense of self is the biggest blocker of your blessings. It's the reason why you're having trouble starting that project that you promised you would complete by now. It's the reason why you are unable or unwilling to ask for the help that you clearly need. It's the reason why you're having trouble on the job market. You need to be able to get out of your own way before things can come your way. I'm just being honest, man. I don't even need the alcohol to be honest. This is not alcohol, by the way. This is just some elderflower and mint. Delicious. What I notice about people who are very successful is they are able to separate who they are from what they do. So if a particular venture fails, they do not feel like a failure. The idea failed, but they are not a failure. And they are also not afraid of failure because they're not afraid of looking silly. An idea might seem brilliant when it's in your head. You execute it and then it's like, oh, that was a dumb idea. But they do not interpret that as them being dumb. It was a bad idea, but they are not dumb because they are not in their ego and they're not doing things because their ego is driving them to do them. They're doing things because it's a challenge. It is, how can I do this and how can I make this successful? Or how can I introduce this idea into the world that will change the world? It's not about, oh, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this success. I'm going to get this status. I'm going to get this fame because I have done this thing. No, it's more about actually introducing the idea into the world and it becoming a successful idea and helping people or building a business from that. It's not about themselves. Like if you were to put Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or who else, even Bill Gates in the desert with nothing, they would probably become a billionaire again because that's who they are, and it's what they're doing is not ego driven. People who are ego driven tend not to take risks, or they don't take the big risks because they are afraid of how they'll be perceived if they fail. So ego is an issue when it comes to starting things. It's also an issue when it comes to accepting help. Again, these billionaires, these millionaires, or it doesn't necessarily need to be money, but even successful academics, what they are able to do is, if there is a branch of knowledge that they know they're not good at, they're able to ask for help and bring in the right people to do the things and execute on the things that they know are not their strengths. Because again, they've gotten out of their own way to do these things. You need to be able to accept help in order to get some things done. Yeah, man, that's why I say ego. Your ego is the biggest blocker of your blessings. It's crazy how much of a difference a change in motivation can make to your actions. It's almost like a fighter who's tense, and he's tense because he's angry. And when you're tense, your movements are rigid. You can't generate as much force and torque and power because you're starting from a position of tense muscles. But if you're loose, if you're fluid, you can move so much faster, and so you can hit even harder because you're calm and you're doing it from the position of, I'm just in a fight and I'm feeling the motions and I'm feeling the flow. I'm going with the flow. And it's about the mastery of the fight, not about me and my emotions. It can be translated to anything you do in life. If it is ego driven, you will be rigid. You will not allow changes in circumstance or changes in the environment or changes in mood or the people around you to affect you. So you'll be rigid and you won't be able to move as required. But if you are not ego driven, if you just go with the flow, if it's about the mastery of the craft, or if it's about the people, making the people happy, you are looser, you are better able to adapt to different situations. And that ability to adapt is what's going to make you successful, because you have to adapt to the world around you. There's someone I know that is currently the CEO of one of the major banks in Malawi. And I knew him before he was CEO. And the interesting thing about him, I think at that point he was probably a department head at a different bank. And what caught my eye about him was his willingness to listen to everyone. Like, he was talking to me, and I am still several years his junior, right? And we were talking and having a conversation, and he was actually listening to my viewpoints. And I think this was the first time someone that senior was listening to me at that level, like in terms of business and my ideas. And you could tell he was taking things on board. And that's the kind of mentality I've seen in other successful people, because I met another person who is, well, he's been, I think, governor of different institutions. He's been on a member of the board on a lot of different institutions as well. And I think he's also been CEO of one of the major banks as well. And it was similar in that he was able to talk to me. We had a conversation like we were friends. It was very interesting. But what I've seen about people who are very successful is they tend to talk to people like people. They don't let their ego get in the way. I've seen and I've met people who also have an ego who are up there. But what I've noticed, the difference between the two, the guys with the ego don't tend to stay up there for very long. And it might seem very long because you're thinking he's been up there 5 years, but they don't last 20 years. That's the difference. 5 years seems like a long time, but 20 years is a much longer. That's real long term. But the guys with the ego, they don't last long term. Something always happens because they've been a jerk to someone, and that someone they've been a jerk to, or they've been a jerk to a lot of people. Those people will eventually rise up and they're like, nah, let's get this guy out of our circle. So, or something they did comes back to bite them. So your ego is going to be your downfall, or it is the thing that is holding you back. So my advice to you is just let it go. Let go of the ego. What you should pursue is mastery of the craft that you are in. Because when you are filled by the pursuit of getting better, understanding that every day you can be better than you were the day before, and allowing yourself to understand that you don't know everything and that there's always more to learn, and you can learn from your peers and even from the people who are not quite where you would imagine yourself to be. You can always learn from other people. Allow yourself to get into that mentality. And once you're there, the path forward becomes easier and clearer. And this is for my perfectionists as well, because for some people it's not about unwillingness to listen to people. It's about actually starting the project, and people will say, no, I'm a perfectionist and I don't want to put something out there that isn't perfect. What is perfect? Perfectionism is just procrastination in a suit. So again, you are in your ego and you don't want to put this thing out because you're afraid of what people will say. Just do it, because that's the only way to know if what you've made is good or not. You have to have it tested in the waters of the public eye. It has to be tested, and that's the only way you'll know if it's good or not. To never be perfect, there'll always be someone that will hate on it. Even no matter how great you make something, there'll be someone who dislikes it because it's impossible to please 8 billion people. So just put it out there. And from there, you can improve. But get started. Yeah, man, that's all I had to say. Gotta let go of that ego, bro.
You gotta let go of that ego. 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 I left home with nothing, all I had was a reason. 100 pounds in cash and a plan to believe in. I'm better under pressure, so I splash in the deep end. Hey! I'm a walking paradox, like the son of man with gun in hand. Rugged with the thuggin', I'd spark a butt up in Buckingham. Call me, call your bluff, I don't blink for less than 100 grand. Understand, I've been around money like a rubber band. Growing every year, and my style's getting colder. The sharper cat, the record business tried messing over. I'm here for justice, but it's like the trial's never over. They profit off our trauma like we're child rebel soldiers. Liberation is the mission and we ride at dawn. I can't be pigeonholed, my penmanship defies the norm. Our brothers chillin', got you thinking you can ride the storm. You fools think you're winning, this isn't my final form. Complacent in this matrix, keeping you below the max. They know the facts, but sold you cap just to hold you back. We're coding cracks, reloading fast to decode the math. Till we get to holding racks like we're Goldman Sachs. Who you got? We're taking bets. I got nothing for you bums, I only play the best. Major threats, they get laid to rest. When you make it out the mud, that's a major flex.